How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. And in today's video, I want to talk about why it looks like, at least hopefully, Valve won't fail again when it comes to launching the Steam frame and the Steam machine. And I also just want to cover everything we know about the launch of the Steam machine going into it, because I've gotten a lot of questions from people in the comments and in the replies on X. So I figured I'd just cover it all in one video. I hope you're having a great week playing a ton of video games. Right now, I'm at the end of Replaced, and I'm downloading a game called Achilles Legends Untold. I found it through Instagram. It's a top-down Souls-like where you play as Achilles, and it has Steam Deck support, so fingers crossed it runs well because I bought it. Also, if you watch these videos frequently, you should join the 30% of viewers who are subscribed to the channel. Set your notifications to all. I hear from people all the time that they have notifications on but don't get the videos recommended. Give yourself a better shot by subscribing because it helps me out, and of course it helps you out. But with the intro out of the way, let's get into why Valve won't fail again when it comes to launching the Steam machine and Steam frame. Obviously being a little facetious there by calling it a failure, but I think depending on whether or not you got a Steam controller last Monday, that determines on whether or not you'd feel it's a failure or not. If you logged in early enough, it seems like you got through pretty quickly like I did. If you were there right at 1 o'clock, it seems like you had a decent experience, and anything after like 1:02, you were having some issues. And I'm talking 1:02 Eastern Standard Time. You would have to spam the button over and over again to get your purchase to go through. And then in the next 2 hours, it was just luck of the draw. Then Valve announced that the first shipment was sold out. And then a couple days later, they fixed it, right? They introduced the reservation system where you log on May 8th, I want to say is when it launched. You reserve a Steam controller, and then whenever your spot in line comes up, you get an email that says, hey, it's time to order your Steam controller. You pay for it. Hopefully it gets to you quick, because it seems like depending on where you are, the speed at which your controller shows up is all over the place. I got super lucky. They shipped it and then it showed up the next day. My friend Dustin, who's in Pennsylvania, is still waiting for his. My friend Grayson, who's in North Carolina, still waiting for his. I hear from UK people who don't know where their Steam controllers are. The shipping site that they use does not work correctly. So depending on who you are and where you're at, you either have your Steam controller, it's in shipping, or you reserved one. And Valve is looking to make sure that that doesn't happen again with the Steam machine and Steam frame, because through the same thing I covered in my last video where people were able to dig into the back end of Steam and read some code, they figured out that Valve from the jump will have a reservation system. So looking at the Steam controllers rules, I feel like it's going to be the exact same. Reservations will be limited to one per customer, which makes a lot of sense. With the controller, they probably had a lot more on hand of what they'll have with the Steam machine. So limiting it to one from the jump, I feel like is the right move. Once you receive your email, like I mentioned, you have 72 hours to purchase your controller. I don't know if that moves your spot in line, right? Like if you get the email, I don't know if that bumps you back for shipping if you wait 71 hours to actually pay for it. So keep an eye on your email when this actually happens to make sure when you get that response, you order right away, just to make sure you get it as quick as possible. And then there's account rules as well. You have to have an account in good standing. They don't actually say what that means, but I'd imagine like you can't have been banned from a game, or you can't be an abuser of the refund process. You know what a good account is on Steam, good standing wise, right? Like someone who buys games, plays games, doesn't do anything crazy, scam people, do trading scams or anything like that. You probably know whether or not you have a Steam account in good standing. And then I'm sure they'll just keep this date of April 27th. You have to have made a purchase before April 27th on your Steam account to be able to buy the controller right now or reserve one. I'd imagine they're just going to keep that date for the Steam machine and the Steam frame. It's far enough in the past where, people who have bought games before that are good, and anyone who's making a new Steam account, I'm sorry, I got to plant my flag in the sand. I would prefer people who have been around in the Steam ecosystem get first dibs, if at all possible, over someone who just found out about it and wants to get their hands on it. If they are limited, I just feel like it's the right thing to do to support those people first versus someone who's just showing up. And if you really want one, I feel like maybe waiting a month or two is not going to be as big of a deal for you. But on the other hand, I also feel like that might encourage people to buy from scalpers. But I don't know. If you want to overpay by a lot for a Steam machine when it inevitably sells out and someone who manages to pre-order one throws it on eBay, go with God. I don't think that's a smart decision. It's just dumb in any way you look at it, really. Like if you just wait a little bit, you're going to pay less, and then you won't have to deal with people yelling at you, because no one really likes people who buy from from scalpers. I'd say they like them a little bit more than scalpers themselves, but not by much. So even with these rules in place, I think Steam's going to have some issues. So the best practices here are A, have the money in your wallet right away so your credit card doesn't get locked out. That's the only thing it really helps with. B, make sure you're there right at one if at all possible. I know I hear in the comments that people have jobs all the time. I understand that. I'm just telling you it's the best way to get one quick. And C, make sure you're on a computer. Again, I get the job comment. I understand where you're coming from. Doesn't change the fact that it's better to be on a computer than a phone. People had issues all day long getting their orders to go through on a phone. It's just a reality of the situation. So I can't change it. I have no way to control it. I'm just telling you how it is. So if you're one of those people who are stuck at work and you can only use your phone, I have my fingers crossed for you, but I think you might have some issues compared to people who are on a PC using a dedicated browser. So what are you actually going to be able to buy? I'm sure you saw my video on this because it's one of the highest performing videos on this channel I've had in a long time, if not ever. But in case you missed it, there's going to be 4 models of the Steam Machine. Now, it's not like 4 different colorways as far as we can tell, and there's not going to be that much of a difference between them. It's just like there's 2 variants storage wise of 512 gig and 2 terabyte, and then there's 2 more that come with controllers. So there's 2 without controller, 2 with controller. I'd imagine when it comes to pricing, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, it'll just be the price of the controller added onto the machine. I doubt they'll do it like the PS5 where you get one box with the machine and controller all packaged nicely, because it saves them money, obviously, to just make one box for each device, right? Like you print one box for the Steam Machine, you print another box for the controller, and you package them within another box. That's a huge change between the Steam Deck and the Steam controller. They're using multiple boxes. And yeah, I don't think there's going to be any discount. So if you already have a controller, I would probably go for the controller-less version, because I feel like most people who are excited for this thing are going to go for the one with the controller. So yeah, if you want an extra controller, you have an option, but it's probably going to be the cost of both of them together. And with the Steam Frame, it's a little less complicated. There's only 2 models. You've got the 256 gig version. You've got the 1 terabyte version. I think I'm going to go for the 256 gig one because these Android games that they make for VR headsets aren't necessarily all that big in size. And both the Steam Machine and the Steam Frame are expandable by SD card. And I'm also positive, I just looked it up, that you can also upgrade the SSD in the Steam Machine, and then you'll have to download the recovery image, flash it to a USB, reinstall SteamOS. But that's like a 5 to 10 minute process. It will wipe your games. There is a way to have it leave your files in place, but you can't do that if you're taking out the SSD. So if you're going to upgrade the SSD, make sure you have it there on launch day so you don't download a bunch of games, get your SSD in the mail, then have to re-download everything. It'll just save you a lot of time in the long run. But yeah, you can upgrade the SSD of the Steam Machine. I doubt you can upgrade the internal storage of the Steam Frame. I know it's modular. That just seems a little crazy with how much wiring and tech has to be packed in to a VR headset to keep the weight balanced. So I feel like if you want more than 256 gigs, you don't plan on buying an SD card, go for the 1 terabyte. I think it'll be more expensive. So yeah, I'm probably going to go for the 256 gig because while I am a fan of VR and I'm excited about it, I'm more excited for the Steam Machine. I just want to have the Steam Frame in my house to play around with VR with. So for me, 256 gigs is good enough. And as far as bonuses go, they could do some sort of visual indicator for the 2 terabyte. I just don't think they will because of all the shortages and everything like that. I do think there will be bonuses like there were with the Steam Deck, like controllers, avatars, profile backgrounds, but all digital stuff that doesn't really mean anything at the end of the day. So if you really covet that stuff, maybe it's worth buying the most expensive of both the Steam Frame and the Steam Machine. But like, I feel like the vast majority of people don't really care. And like the profile backgrounds are cool, but it's not a huge deal at the end of the day. I don't think there will be anything physical or extra included in the package. And if they do limited editions to match the Steam Decks, the white one and the black see-through one, I feel like we're going to be waiting at least a year for that, for the RAM crisis to resolve, because for a long time, I think they're going to have to deal with just getting Steam Machines made and out the door. So like, they're not going to want to complicate that by adding in even more extra limited edition models or anything like that. But I would love to see it. I would love to have have all my stuff match, but yeah, for launch, I don't think it's going to happen. The next question to answer is what's next, the Steam Machine or the Steam Frame? Now, in my heart of hearts, I would prefer it be the Steam Machine because that's what I want more than the Steam Frame. And I think there are honestly just as many people who are excited for the Steam Frame, so they wouldn't be mad if it was first. And I think those people are going to be happy because to me, it's really seeming like the Steam Frame is going to be first. The first piece of evidence I have for that is that when they delayed this stuff into the first half of 2026 from early 2026, they said that it was harder to find the parts for the Steam Machine than the Steam Frame. They said that's what they were particularly running into issues with. So if the Steam Frame is easier to get for them, it would make sense for them to launch it sooner. Another reason the Steam Frame is next is that it's showing up in a lot of places, like it's using a Qualcomm chip, and it just showed up today on Qualcomm's website. So they're talking about it, which makes me think they're getting ready to launch it. And then going back to the conspiracy theory about the shipping containers, it's not anything to take too seriously, but obviously it's not Steam Decks because the weight is different than the Steam Deck shipments that were happening up until the end of last year. So if it's Steam Frames, there's more of them available, and I'd rather that be the case because I want everyone who wants a Steam Frame to be able to get one. And also, I just don't think the demand is equal for the Steam Frame versus the Steam Machine. So that might be an easy PR win, easy thing to get out the door. And obviously, it's something that a lot of people are excited for, even if you're not interested in VR, because they'll have a recovery image for SteamOS for ARM, I would assume. And then it's off to the races for installing it on devices like the AYN Odin, the AYN Thor, the Retroid Pocket, your Android phone, who knows? But yeah, because it's using an ARM chip and it's using SteamOS, it's using a special version of SteamOS for ARM, and I think people are really excited for that. So if it comes out first, I'll be happy because I'm buying it and I'm excited to get it in my hands. Let me know if you'd like to see a video on it in the comments below. I'm not sure if this audience is really tuned into VR, but yeah, just based on the evidence we have currently, I'm thinking the Steam Frame will launch first. I don't know anything. It's just based on the evidence we have. So the next obvious question to answer is, when is this stuff coming? I mean, no one knows. People at Valve know, but no one on the outside knows, but we can make an educated guess, and I would guess soon because we're in May now, right? And the end of the first half of 2025 is just a month away, a little over a month. So if they were going to not hit that, I feel like they would have said it by now to set expectations accordingly, and they haven't said that. So they basically have around a month and a half to launch both pieces of hardware. I've seen a lot of people thinking they'll launch them together just based on how it went last Monday with just one product launch. I don't think they want to slam their servers super hard by launching two at the same time. So whatever it is next, whether it's the Steam Machine or Steam Frame, I'd expect we'll see it in the next couple of weeks. And then after that, before the end of June. And then they're in the first half of 2026. And then to wrap up the video, let's talk about what we don't know. The big one is price. I've been teasing this the whole video. I don't know what the price is going to be. I like Tom. I trust Tom. He says that the BOM, so like the cost of the parts for Valve, will be like $600 to $650. If they're going to take a loss, they could sell it for cost, at least at launch, and then hopefully the parts get cheaper for them as time goes on, and then they start making a profit. I don't really care either way. They're going to make enough money on games where I'm not going to feel sorry for them having to take a loss on a console, because every console in history besides the PS5 and Series X had to do that. It's not that big of a deal to me. I saw a few comments saying that there's no way there will only be a $50 difference. Look, if they're already taking a loss on it and they're breaking even on it at the end of the day, that would be a really good PR move. And Valve has been, cool about this stuff in the past. Like the idea of a $400 Steam Deck for the performance you got back when it came out seemed crazy to everyone. And that's what Valve exists to do. Give you more value than you're expecting from the product, right? Like look at Half-Life 2, generational game, Left 4 Dead 2. They ended up adding the maps from Left 4 Dead into Left 4 Dead 2. Team Fortress 2 is still kicking. Like every Valve game is giving you more value for the game than you think you should get for the price you're paying. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for it to be a $50 difference. And don't you want that to be the case? Like the people who argue and say it's not going to be anything less than $1,000, like, do you want it to be $1,000? Like, are you hoping for it to fail? I don't really know. Like, I'm going to be, optimistic as I can be. And right now we don't have any hard data from anyone, right? Like even what Tom is doing for Moore's Law is dead. It's good math, but like he doesn't have a source within Valve that's telling him the price. So no one knows anything. That's the main thing that we really need to hear. And I'm sure we'll hear about it soon because like I said, it looks like they're going to hit that first half of 2026 and that's rapidly approaching. So we'll have that answer soon. Another thing we don't know that I would really like to know is how it runs games. Unfortunately, It looks like we're going to have to wait for reviews on that. I wish Valve would just produce some content. Like in the meantime, it would be great to see some videos from them showing games running on the Steam machine. I know we got that quick snippet in the actual hardware announcement trailer, but like that's not enough. I feel like they should be putting videos out there to let people know what performance they should expect. I think the only reason they're not doing that is because obviously they're going to be updating SteamOS for it right down to the wire. And when it comes to Valve SteamOS updates, like the performance of specific games can change overnight depending on an update with a new graphics driver or a new release of Proton. So they probably want as much lead time as possible. I don't think it's too much to ask to see some gameplay though beforehand. They obviously disagree because they're not showing it. Hopefully we get some good gameplay breakdowns from the reviewers who get it early. But yeah, we don't know how it runs games just yet. I know people have created similar machines, but they're going to do boutique graphics drivers. They're going to do boutique optimization. So like, you're not going to know exactly how it'll run games until people get their hands on it. But those are the big things that we don't know. There's a lot of small stuff that I don't feel like is worth covering. Thankfully, the list of unknowns is much smaller than what we do know. And yeah, I'm really excited. So hopefully this video answered all your questions. At the end, I like to do a quick update. Like I mentioned, I'm on my Steam Deck a lot lately. I've been playing Replaced. I'm at the end of it. I got that Achilles game. I just found a new FPS called Sprawl, which is on sale for $4, and I'm excited for that. I like when the new game in a series gets announced and the developer puts the old one on sale so you can catch up. That's a newer practice I've been seeing from time to time. And yeah, to round out the video, I just want to say thank you once again. I know I'm laying it on thick lately, but I am really appreciative of all the people who watch these videos, especially lately. The channel's never done better. I'm not sleeping, but it's in a good way. Like I can't sleep. I'm so excited about how my channel's doing. I'm so excited about the Steam controller. I'm so excited about all the games I'm playing recently on the Steam Deck. And I'm just excited that people love this stuff as much as I do, because when I was growing up, I was always fans of weird stuff that it seemed like no one else liked. Like one of my core memories is being so excited for that movie Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman. And I was like drawing him in 5th grade art class, and this kid like was making fun of me and I didn't know it. He was like, "Yeah, are you going to see Van Helsing this weekend?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm so excited for it." And I was like, "Are you?" And he goes, "No, I'm going to play some video games, but are you going to see?" He kept asking me over and over again if I was going to see it. And that's when I learned that people don't love hearing all the time about things you're really excited for. So to have this channel where people are excited to hear about things I'm excited for, it's making 5th grade me very happy. I wish he could know that that was going to happen. So all of that is to say, I appreciate the support. And yeah, by the way, that kid Mike who made fun of me, he wasn't allowed to read Harry Potter or play Pokemon because his mom thought it was satanic. And one time he had pop in school and his mom came to school and yelled at him for it because he wasn't allowed to have pop. So like, I don't know where the fuck he was coming from. I should have lit his ass up back in 5th grade, but I was a nice kid. I liked Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Van Helsing. I was a nerd, okay? Anyway, guys, that's all I've got for you in this one. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.